Welcome to the Just As We Are podcast. I'm Katrina Lelly, certified life coach, aspiring author, lover of people, mama in recovery, and student of life. Each week, I will bring you love, inspiration, the real life stuff people are afraid to talk about, and guests who are willing to shine their light for you. I give you self-care practices and mindset tips to help you shatter the negative stories you tell yourself. Now is the time to step into the beautiful, loved, whole woman you already are. Let's walk this journey together. Hello and welcome back to the Just As We Are podcast. I am your host, Katrina Lelly, and you guys, I am just incredibly excited to be here with you today. We have such a beautiful guest, and I cannot wait to dive in with her and share our story together, how we met, and have her share her story with you. Today we have Elizabeth Moraes. She's an internationally certified transformation, confidence, and success catalyst, public speaker. Yeah, well, maybe, there's a new one for you.
I have accidentally introduced myself with that, so the story.
So today we have Elizabeth Moraes. She's an internationally certified transformation, confidence, and success catalyst, a public speaker, associate producer, and team advisor of the upcoming Amazon Prime docuseries, The Social Movement. I am so excited to hear more about that. A podcast host, former pro dancer, choreographer, university professor, and an international best-selling author. She helps high-achieving female entrepreneurs and professionals who have been called to play a bigger game, embrace their fears, and courageously stop hiding in plain sight. Does anybody relate to that? Helping her clients develop their courage muscle to get out of their comfort zone and into their genius zone is her total joy and her purpose that lights her up. Thank you so much for being here today, Elizabeth. I am so excited about this.
It's my total pleasure. I'm so excited to be talking with you. You are a rock star, girl. So.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So I met Elizabeth at the Millionaire Society, and there was an instant connection between the two of us. And I knew I had to have her on my podcast, you guys. So Elizabeth, just dive right in and tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right, sure. No, I was so instantly, I don't want to say attracted, but magnetized to you because you were during the event, you were so willing to be vulnerable and to be present and to just say, I need to have these questions answered. I'm going to stand up and I'm going to do it. And I was so impressed with that because so many people can have those questions and want to be coached and all, but they're not courageous enough to stand up and they stay in the same place. And I could tell with you, you were like, gosh dang, I got to get this done. And so I was so impressed with you. That's why I was like, I got to connect with her. And so
now I'm blushing.
What's that?
Now I'm blushing.
Oh, well, receive it, girl. My name again is Elizabeth Moraes, and I live in the Dallas, Fort Worth area. I don't say I'm from here, even though I've lived here. How long have I lived here? 20 years. And I was born in Iowa, lived in Texas, moved to Nebraska, then moved to Europe. So I was there as a kid into my teens and moved back to Texas to go to high school here. And during that whole time of childhood and throughout high school, I had fallen in love with dance. I knew that I wanted to be a professional dancer from the age of 5. And you know the movie Fantasia?
Yes.
Yes, I saw the dancing. I don't know if you say dancing hippopotamuses. But I saw that and I thought, of all things, I want to be that. And so I started watching dance and I was like, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And so throughout my childhood and into high school, I danced. I started also expanding into competitive dance, not so much professional when I was in high school, but was interested in being a professional. So then I went to college in Michigan, did my undergraduate there. And then from there, jumped into Europe and launched actually a little bit before that here in the States, but then really launched my professional dance career, choreography career over in Europe and danced throughout Europe, went to get my master's in England and then also in dance and dance anthropology of all things. And then came back to the States met my husband before we moved to the States and did my master's of fine arts here, and then started teaching at the university. Kept performing. Then we had our two little girls. We have a now 16-year-old and 10-year-old, and they are stars of our lives. And we built a home here. I coach out of my home, and like this. I do virtual coaching all over the world. Also love seeing my clients in person, so I have numerous ones here in the Dallas area. But my big thing really is helping women who have been called to play a bigger game, but they're still playing small. And so, because I've lived that for so much of my life, I know that I'm sure many of you, yourself included, I'm sure many of your viewers, know that there's something more for you that you're supposed to be doing in the world. You know you're supposed to be making an impact, but you know that you're still holding yourself back. You're still hiding behind something, whether it's motherhood. I know a lot of mothers do that because you want to, of course, dedicate your life and energy to your kids, but at the same time, we know sometimes we're made for more. We're not just made to be mothers. But we can go, oh, well, I'm being a mom right now, where you're still inner conflict of knowing that there's more for you. Or maybe you're hiding behind your product or your business or whatever. And so I help women in particular, I help men as well, but mostly women really understand like what's holding you back. What are your limiting beliefs that are stopping you? Often it's about, imposter syndrome or, not unworthy, feeling unworthy to really step into that, or they don't deserve that, they're not enough, but they still have these amazing visions. So I help them get rid of those limiting beliefs, create a strategy, and then to create those creative endeavors or those audacious plans to step into that. So developing confidence from the inside out, and then how do you put that out into the world?
I love that. We need so much of that, more of people helping one another in that way. And it's so great that you were there to embrace your calling in that and to, surround yourself around these people and help them do that. You brought up something interesting, which I've only heard a little bit in the last couple of weeks. And so I know that means it's coming up more and more in the world today. And that's that imposter syndrome. Can you dive a little bit more into that and tell us what that is exactly and, what that
Sure. The thing is we as a society really look at like Instagram and social media, and those are our highlight reels, and that's what we see in other people, but that's also primarily what we put out there. And so, for example, you could be putting out this image as a business owner, as an example, but inside you're dying. Inside you're crumbling. You have a terrible relationship with your spouse, or you're financially in ruins, but you got to on the outside show that everything's put together. The company is successful and all of that. You're not then in alignment with what's really happening on the inside. And so that's like that's a big one. I'm like, got to put it out there, got to keep up appearances, but I'm dying on the inside. And that's happens with so many people. But the other thing is too, is that just in general, because of fear, because of feeling inadequate I've found that the biggest fear that most people have working with so many women is that we're most fearful of being judged by others. And so we put up these masks of how we think we're supposed to show up as, but they're not who we really are at our core. So we have this disconnect of what we put out in the world, whether it's like the drastic example I gave you, or just in general, like, okay, I got to show up with my, my hair all done, and my makeup all done, and my nails all done, but I feel like I'm depressed or whatever it is. Like there's a disconnect from what's being shown and what's really happening. And so there's a need to bring those two closer together. Yes, we don't show everything that's happening on the inside out in the world, but to bring that closer together, because the bigger the disconnect, the bigger you're going to feel like an imposter. And an imposter syndrome means you're just not showing up as you really would like to. And so you feel like there's a fear of being found out, or getting caught. Sometimes another form of imposter syndrome is, well, I say I'm an expert at this. I don't know if I know enough to say that. So what if they're going to find me out? That type of thing. When you have years of education or massive amounts of experience in that, whatever it is, Or maybe my best-selling book was just a fluke, and maybe it's like I won't be able to do it again. And so you're fearful then of putting yourself out there because then you're like, well, what if that's a failure? Then they're going to find out I'm a fake, right? So there are different elements of this imposter syndrome context that we come across. And that's why it's so important to just really work on just being yourself, showing yourself, and owning your audaciousness. Going, yeah, I'm a best-selling I was gonna say best-selling actress, best-selling author.
Well, look what you
Own
just put
it
out there.
And like be like, I can do it again. I can do it again, rather than like, what if that was just a fluke? Own it.
Yeah, I love that. I appreciate you sharing more on that, because I think that is one thing that's not being talked about that is so common as to what could be going on with people, and it's not being talked about. I had never heard of it until a couple of weeks ago, and really never identified. And it doesn't matter who you are or what you're doing. I think we can all identify being in that spot at some point in our life, or currently in some area of our life, or everywhere. It totally identified with it myself, and none of us are ever going to be perfect or experts at anything.
We might be experts, but we're not going to be perfect at it.
Yes, experts. Yes. Thank you for correcting me on that. And the thing is, if we're showing up as we are, that's this podcast, just as we are. Come and be as you are. That's what people want. That's what we all are really just looking for and want more of in the world. And it's, for some reason, it's just, and you probably know more than I do, it's just interesting to me how difficult that is for us.
It is.
And how much we will go to work to fight not to show up that way.
I know, because we're fearful of being judged.
Yeah.
And there's one of my favorite quotes, and I was going to say, I'm going to give you the quote here in a second. But the thing is that, again, we're so fearful of the judgment, and so we put up these facades and are afraid to express ourselves, our charm, our gifts, our thing, because we're afraid that they're going to get demolished. And so we put on all these filters of how we see the world and how we think we're supposed to show up. So one of my favorite quotes is by a gentleman named Thomas Cooley. And I'm going to say it twice because it kind of is a brain tease. You go, oh, yes. So it's, I'm not who you think I am. I'm not who I think I am. I am who I think you think I am. Again, I'm not who you think I am. I'm not who I think I am. I am who I think you think I am. So I am seeing myself from my interpretation of what I think you see me as. So I'm going to act accordingly. So it's not even based on them, it's on what I think they're going to see me as. And so then we start acting in a certain way, and we try to be perfect. We try to, like, in whatever eyes we think we're supposed to be, we get confused because it's, who am I supposed to be perfect for? And then we get this kind of, I'm going to say, a blank stare. There's still you coming through, but there's still this like facade. And I know I did that for a long time in my business and my marketing and like my personal branding. I was like, I need to be, inspiring, and I need to be glossy and look like, have people want to like try to work towards that, like, because I'm working towards that. And what happened is that it was like trying to be such an ideal of perfection that I couldn't even attain it. That's another form of imposter. It's like, I'm putting this out there, but I can't even attain that, right? But then no one else could either. Well, people could, but like, it was then, well, you're over there, Elizabeth. I could never be that. So there was not this accessibility. And so when we getting back to the point of just like, this is what this podcast is about, just showing up as yourself, because when we show up as ourselves and we're just like, this is it. Not just that, hey, look it, here's my I'm just open for you, big belly, just hanging out. It's not that. It's, here I am. Yes, you see the flaws, but also you get to see like the coolness of it too. That's me. And that's what we want to see. We want to see you shining, and it's you, and getting rid of the trying to be something that you're not.
Yeah.
But it's hard to do.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. And you made me think about when you said, oh, showing up big belly and all of that. That's just another way of showing up in that imposter syndrome. Wouldn't it not be? Like, that's just another defense mechanism.
Possibly, yeah.
Yourself.
Well, it's that, but it's also what I mean by, because so many people will be like, oh, well, being authentic and being real is you showing up on camera with no makeup on, your hair on top of your head, like that's you in your natural state. And that's not always like, just being like schleppy, like, well, this is my like natural. That doesn't have to be the case. It's you showing up as you. Like if I were to show up here with my hair on top of my head, no makeup, in my schleppy clothes, that's not me. Like, yeah, there are days where I'm like that, but that's just because I haven't looked in the mirror because I'm focused on on my work. But if I'm wanting to be an expression of myself, like an outward, like I'm now reaching out to the out, it's going to be fun. Like I want to express myself in fun ways, right? It's not, oh, she's being inauthentic, she's being fake, which, does that make sense? I hope that makes sense.
It makes 110% sense.
Like this is me being authentic. This is not me covering myself up. This is me.
Yeah.
Right? I don't have to be all natural.
Right. No, and it makes 100. It makes total sense. And for me, I've always thought, I am not that person that likes to dress up and get all glammed up. I'll tell you what, that has shifted since going to Mommy Millionaire Live. I've been doing my makeup every morning, getting up and doing that. And I'm thinking, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there is that part of me, but I put it away for so long. It's fun to do that. And it's fun to show up that way and have your hair done and, all that. And then I absolutely love my jeans and sweatshirt day and, and putting your hair, like that's just walking in with a knowing that we're the only ones we need to satisfy and love. And that's the only opinion approval of first. Yeah.
Totally. And it's usually the opposite of what our focus is.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So tell me, where does, you also touched on that unworthiness. How does that come into play? Why do you think it's such a big thing? We can go to work really hard at, holding on to these limiting beliefs that we have. And that seems to be a big one that shows up in women, in moms, even, it doesn't matter what you do.
So you're asking, where does this come from?
Yeah, where does it show up, do you think? Where do you find that it comes from the most when you're working with your clients?
Well, they're all, our limiting beliefs are contracts that we signed with ourselves at some point in our lives because of things that have happened to us, people speaking things into us, or just interpretations of things, right? Like, a child, and this we as moms can't go overboard with this because we're gonna do the damage we're gonna do anyway, like whether we try it or not, even if we're careful, because we could even one day a child could come home from school and be like, I'd really like to have an ice cream cone, and we're like, no, you've already had your sugar for the day, no. And and maybe you're just maybe it's the way you said it was a little snippy or whatever. And now that child, without us even knowing, could make the decision, sign that contract from the interpretation of, oh, well, I must have done something wrong, so I'm unworthy to have, this is what the brain does. And we don't even know that happened, right? So we got to be careful what we speak into our kids, but at the same time, we also have to kind of let go, and it's up to the kid to pick up however. And so, but those are some of the ways of how we pick things up, is that when something's happened to us, we interpret something, or somebody has spoken something into us. And so, and these usually happen in our childhood years. And we then have this contract that is it's been solidified in our subconscious. And then that's what runs our lives. 65 to 75,000 thoughts are thoughts a day by each one of us. Okay. And 95% are the subconscious thoughts. They're the thoughts that, can we just think about that? 75,000 thoughts. 95% of them are the same thoughts you thought yesterday, the day before, since you were 5 years old.
Wow.
So you are operating on ideas and thoughts and limiting beliefs that were created back then. And there are these neural pathways that are created because of that. And so no matter how much willpower we put into place to, I'm going to change the way I think, or I'm going to change my actions, or I'm going to stop smoking, or whatever it is, our subconscious is going to, I'm not, just in general, habits that we don't like, that we try to get rid of with willpower. No matter how much willpower you put into it, the subconscious is still going to try to pull you back into that belief because it's there to protect you. And so if you try to stop drinking or whatever, like if you have an addictive something, try to change it, or you're trying to lose weight, let's just say that, trying to lose weight. For many of us, women, that's what we feel it. So you get on a diet or you get on a certain eating lifestyle, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to do this. But the brain is going, but you've been fat for so long, right? Or overweight. And so then the subconscious will go, it's okay, like it's sneaky. It's okay to have some cake tonight. It's okay. Or, you know what? It's Friday. You deserve a break. You don't need to go work out tonight. Yeah, okay, I'm just going to do that. Same thing happens the next day, and you're like, see, I'm a failure. The subconscious pulled you right back into where it wants to stay. So you have to prove the subconscious differently, that you actually can have a different experience. And so it's then identifying those self-limiting beliefs that are running the show. And it's just natural. There's no judgment about it. See them and go, okay, when they start becoming aware of them, go, oh, is this my truth? No. Okay, what do I want to think to replace it? And what's cool too is that this is something that really shifted something for me, is that, we can do a lot of affirmations and meditations and all, and those are all amazing things to help us along the journey. And I've done those for years, but I still would have things and I'm like, what? I'm still stuck. I'm still feeling unworthy. I'm still sabotaging my efforts. Like I'll go to a certain extent in the journey towards a goal, and then I'll shortchange it somehow. I'll get purposely confused, or I'll purposely get, shiny object syndrome. And I'll go off to something else. I'm like, oh yeah, I had that goal and I'm not working on it anymore, because it would go right to that edge of my comfort zone. And the thing is that we, what I was saying about the affirmations and all, those are great, but I would still have these things. When I started learning about how we can actually address this scientifically, it's not just wishing or reinforcing. We really think of it scientifically. It was so much easier for me to go, oh, I can get rid of these limiting beliefs. And the thing is that, we have our thoughts that create feelings, those feelings within the body. And then those, because of how we feel, not just I'm sad, but a sensation in the body, it creates endorphins, chemicals, hormones and all, that then inspire an action. Okay. And then that action reinforces the thoughts. So and a really good example, if we're all moms, we all understand this because we've had sex. Okay. we see something, we see, our spouse or whomever that we're attracted to. We go, ooh, I'd like that. Our body creates a certain sensation, right? The sensation then creates hormones and all, and we take an action, right? That's always a really good example of I see what it feels like. But the thing is that we can have thoughts that we're not even aware of the sensation. A worry, what does that do to the body? We don't always feel consciously that anxiety in the body, but it's still there and it creates something.
Yeah.
If we don't try to change the thought and the feeling, our body is addicted to these chemicals that are in the body. It's automatically going to try to put you back into that state. Okay. So this is where the science part, I was like, oh, okay. I'm addicted to fight or flight. So many people are in that, stuck in that. It's because the body, just like if you were addicted to alcohol or drugs, the body needs it, thinks it needs it to stay, even though it's terrible for the body and for the mind. It still wants to stay there, no matter, it's going to fight. And that's why you have people who go and kill people to get their drugs, because their body needs it, right? So we have to switch it. If we go, okay, I'm feeling something, I need to change the thought. Be aware of it and go, okay, this is an anxious thought. What is the thought that caused that? Okay, I need to switch it. I'm choosing to think this. I'm in charge of my brain. My brain's not in charge of me. what is the feeling then that, like, you really have to go, okay, what is the feeling when I think that? Get into that state and then take an action from that. The more you do it, you then start creating new neural pathways, and your body now is in a different place to then be in a different comfort zone that's actually more productive, more full of joy, more full of choice and intention rather than default and in these like living in the self-limiting beliefs. So like you can literally change scientifically these limiting beliefs with the support of the affirmations, with the support of the meditations. Like every night I have meditations in my head all night and affirmations. So it's this constant reprogramming and training the brain. I know that's a long explanation, but
I love that. I'm sitting
I'm
here
addicted
going,
to this
oh
kind
my
of stuff.
gosh. It makes sense though, because we tend to focus that it's only in our mind. But I love the way that you explained it, and that it's in the whole body. And it's true, because we do know that if you're stressed about something or anxiety, it is going to show up in some way in your health, in some body. And so that makes total sense to me. So I loved what you shared about that. Incredibly helpful and interesting. So what do you talked about a process that you have. Can you share a little bit more? Is it a 7-step process?
Yeah, actually 6. We can make it into 7. We can try to figure out another step. In terms of my iconic competence formula?
Yeah, I
yeah.
think that would be helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Share a little bit about that.
Yeah, definitely. So it's, when we have a formula or a methodology, it's easy to go, oh, I can attack that. That makes it easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I have it's called iconic competence formula, or the formula. And what this does is it really works on your confidence from the inside out and then the outside in to reinforce it. And, so many times we can think, okay, I can't do something until I'm confident to go out and do it. So many times, for example, entrepreneurs will say, I need to get on Facebook Live to promote my business. But I'm trying to draw up the courage and the confidence to go and do it. You're not going to get the confidence until you do it. So you just got to go, I say, fall in faith and do it. And that's where you go, hey, you want all different things. Ooh, that didn't work. What can I learn from that? And hey, I was pretty good at that. Or hey, I'm getting better at this. That's where your confidence builds. And so everything hinges on your confidence. Your success hinges on your confidence, because it's a trust in yourself and a decision and a belief that you can actually attain what you're going to go do. If you don't, even if you set goals, if you inside don't believe that you can attain them, you will never take the right action to make them happen. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Your subconscious again will just get in the way.
Yes.
You'll take the actions. If you've been in something and you're getting coached for years and you're just like, I just can't get past this, because you're just going up to that edge, right? And you haven't made the decision to go against the subconscious and go, I actually can. I have accomplished so much in my life. I have birthed children. I have, whatever it is, I can make this happen. And so confidence, everything hinges on your confidence. And the way people are magnetized to you depends on your confidence as well. When you have confidence, people then trust you more. They also, if you're a business, will be magnetized to you more, because they then know that, hey, if you're confident in yourself, then I can be confident in knowing you're going to take care of me in whatever service, whatever you're going to provide them, right?
Yeah.
And so I love helping, because it's been such a big, huge transformation for me in my life, developing my confidence exponentially in all areas of my life, not just in one or two areas. That then it just keeps expanding my life in general. And so the formula, the first one is really getting clear on what lights you up. Like if you're a mom right now and you feel like many moms feel like they've lost their identity. They've had their children and now there's so much focus on the kids, and whatever else has happened in relationships and in the home, you just feel like you're just kind of doing the same thing over and over again. You feel like you're doing it all by yourself, even though there's the whole family's there. But it's so easy to go, I'm doing the dishes and the cleaning and the cooking, and I'm working as well, and I'm rearing the kids, trying to do it all. And this is where we start beating ourselves up because we can't do it all, but we feel like we have to do it all. right?
Yep.
Is right. And like, to be perfectly blunt, we create that scenario.
Oh yeah. Oh
It
yes.
does not have to be that way, but we create it because we feel like we have to, and that's what's been modeled to us, or whatever, or we just assume that's what it has to happen, and that's not. It doesn't have to be the case. And so, if you find yourself in that situation, or if you feel like you're just like I said earlier, like you know that there's more for you, you should be attaining. It's really important to get clear. So, what lights you up? What are your passions? What's your essence? Like you, as a woman, what's your essence that is supposed to be brought out into the world that might kind of be, you know, suppressed or dimmed? And often, and I have to be careful with this advice, just because, you know, if somebody's had a difficult, abusive, or abused childhood, you know, if in their childhood they were abused or had a traumatic experience, you have to be careful about this. But what I tell people is to get to that place where when you were a little kid, where like all options were on the table. Like, I'm gonna, like, you know, you're running around with your Wonder Woman outfit on and you're dancing and you're like, I'm gonna be this, I'm gonna be that. That's who you are. This is before all of the programming and what people told you who you are and what you should, how you should behave and all. That's where you are, and that's where actually that's who you are, because that's where you're connected with that outside and that inside. That's where you're most connected, because you don't worry about what's out there. So really getting clear first and foremost of what that is and where you want to go, and like what is it, and like even if your current situation, your circumstances, like bear no resemblance of what your vision is, and like you think this is your reality, what it always will be, really just think outside of that and go, but this is where I really want to be. So getting clear on that, and because then you have a place to go, right? And a place where you can feel the feels, like remember the changing the thoughts and the feelings, like to get into that feeling state of being there, because then your brain goes, oh, we can go there, right? So get into that. And then there's a sense of being connected on the spiritual side. So for me, it's God, spirit, universe, whatever it is for you. Really start developing that connection with what your belief system is. And this is where your intuition gets more in alignment, or at least gets louder, where you start trusting that more. And I give people example or exercises in terms of, for example, you know, if you're walking down the street, you're walking your dog and there's a piece of trash on the ground, you know, maybe usually you wouldn't even notice it, but if you notice it and you feel that, like the tug to, hey, you should probably pick that up, practice. That's your intuition, that's your divine nudge to go and pick it up and take the action to do it. It's those simple things. It's not out of obligation. It's, I just got this message, I should follow through on it. And so you just start practicing that, and then you start getting really aware of many things around you. Meditation, prayer, all of that type of practice gets you more connected to who you are at your essence again, so that you then can start expressing that and feeling good about, you know, like believing in your personal essence. And then the next step is clearing out or cleansing. So it's clearing out your surroundings that can be reminders of your past, or reminders of, you know, if your home's messy, it can turn into a symbol of all the things you never finish. And it's a reminder of you of beating yourself up. Or it's just all the extra clutter and so much chaos that you can't just be still and get into a creative space, right?
Love
and
that.
so it's important to clear out like everything. If you need, even the drawers. So spend time, you know, 15 minutes a day. Okay, I know the house is a wreck, but today, 15 minutes, I'm going to go into the kitchen drawers, clear them all out. Or Saturday afternoon, I'm going to get a glass of wine and I'm going to pull everything out of my closet. I'm going to clear out everything that like is broken, torn, doesn't fit anymore. You know, donate that, sell that, keep that. What new outfits can I create with those? Everything around in your surroundings, your car, everything. Get the dog bathed and groomed, like all of those things that you can just go, because if those are around, it's unfinished business. You're just postponing decisions, right? But that also includes people and how you spend your time that you need to clear out. You need to clear out the energy vampires, the people that are pulling you down, that don't want the best for you, or they just, you know, they're drama queens or whatever it is. They want to gossip, all that. You got to let those people go. Also, in terms of your time, you got to let go of all the things that are distractions and a waste of your time. This is very basic, like what I'm describing right now in terms of the depth of it. But it's clearing out, your surroundings, the people that are not serving you to your highest good, and then your time. And then it's about practicing courage to do things, fall in that faith that I spoke about, so that you can start expanding your comfort zone. So for example, with you starting the podcast, you could be like, oh no, I've got to have everything in place and I have to experience a certain level of success and whatever. Like you could start all these certain things and you stay like small in your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
But you're like, no, I'm going to start this. I'm doing this. And now your comfort zone, now you're getting more comfortable being in front of the camera, being in front of the microphone. It's like, hey, I'm good with this. I'm fine. Ooh, okay, but now I'm going to expand my comfort zone and be a little bit more courageous and invite guests that might be a little scary to invite on, that type of thing. But then you're like, oh, I can handle this. Miss Oprah, when are you coming on my show? So it's practicing those small things that are a little bit out of your comfort zone, but really think about it just as, oh, well, I'm in a networking event. I'm supposed to talk to people. Usually I only talk to one person. This is my comfort zone, but what if I just made a goal of talking to everybody? And now your comfort zone is it. Now you walk into the room and you're like, hey, everybody. You see what I mean by just expanding that comfort zone that's even bigger than, right? You're comfortable in it. It gives you that point to go, oh, I can do more. And then the last one is, how do you communicate? How do you connect with people? And how can you show up and authentically connect heart to heart? How can you be charismatic? How do you show up when you go to an event or to a dinner party, or if you go on stage to speak, or if you get on front of the camera? How do you now put yourself out there in a confident way with all these other things supporting you? And then, what's your styling, what's your personal brand, and all of that then reinforces, because you're now doing that as a full expression of who you are, because you're clear, you're connected to God, you've decluttered. Now you can be a full expression. Now that exemplifies who you are, and it reinforces even more that clarity. So it's like this constant. So that's my formula.
I love that. That is it's simple.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so helpful. Thank you for sharing that. I know that it can get, our listeners are going to get a lot out of that. So real briefly, I do want to share, I want to hear a little bit about this new thing you're about to embark on with the social movement on Amazon Prime. So we have just a few minutes left, but yeah, dive into that and let me know a little bit more about that.
Definitely. See, this thing came up into my life where I could have used it as a sabotage to my success, and I've turned it into something that I personally use to sabotage myself. I've turned it into something that I'm like, oh, no, this is totally in alignment and where I want to go. Because I can have a tendency to be on a course of my goals and actions, and then a shiny object can come into play, and I'm like, ooh. And like my ego will come up a little bit like, well, that's cool to take part in that. And, I've been offered this, and do it to derail, like, oh, I'm supposed to go there. Whereas what I needed to do really is to keep on in my lane. And to like, nope, I said I'm going to go do this. And so initially when it came into my radar to be a part of this show, and I'll explain what the show is here in a second. I was like, oh yes, no. I need to stay focused, and when the time is right, then maybe I'll go into that. Because I also had to be aware of, if I'm going to be doing that, is that, being an associate producer and being a participant in a show, like a docu-series, is that going to be confusing to my audience? Because of my coaching and my messaging, they're going to be like, wait, where is this coming from? Like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Like, I thought she was this. I'm really confused. And so I was like, okay, I can't do that, because I've done that a lot. And, and we all do this in business. Like, there's a certain evolution that you go through. You're continually growing, right? And so recently I was like, no, this feels really good. And it's not something that's going to confuse my message. It actually supports my message, because if I'm helping women who are called to play bigger, I have to play bigger.
Yes.
I was like, okay, y'all, I'm doing this coaching, and I'm helping women do this. Get your programs out there, your books, your talks, all of that, whatever those passion projects are. But I have to lead by example too. So I'm doing this. So this is kind of a side thing that you get to see like what it's like. Because if I'm not running, we can't lock arms to run together, right? So I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And so what it is, it's a really cool show called The Social Movement. The first season is coming out this summer. We're filming season 2 that I'm in this summer. And so I've accepted the role of associate producer, which is in a sense finding, producers are the funders, the ones who are bringing money in to fund the project. So whenever you hear executive producer, they're the ones who are like pulling the resources together. So I'm helping with that. So I'm helping find companies who want to sponsor, who want to be a part of this type of show that is helping change the world. And so socially conscious companies who want to be a part of this. And so then as a participant, what we do is they're going to have 4, possibly 6 teams. Originally it's 4, but they may expand it to 6. These are teams made up of 12 people from all over the world, entrepreneurs, influencers, thought leaders, CEOs, who have a social consciousness or a social element of what they want to help in the world. And they pull them together, and for 4 days, no social media, no outside anything in terms of distractions. You then are tasked with a problem of like a social issue. This first season, one of the issues was, how do you stop a hurricane? And so, natural disasters or cyberbullying or sex trafficking or women's equality, all these different things. How do you do that? So, for example, one of the teams came up with a proposal. It cost $1 billion to stop literally stop a hurricane. So you've got these teams who are like connecting with to get information from NASA and this and that, because these people that are coming in from all over the world. So you have I think I have a friend who works for NASA. Let's connect with them. So then they're getting information from it. So like their proposal is like $1 billion proposal, but in the long run, it saves hundreds of billions of dollars and lives. And so we're coming together to fix these problems on a grand scale. And then you do that together as a team, and then you pitch it to judges, and then they say, okay. And so I'm going to be one of those people. So it's super, super cool. And what's cool about it, it's like a reality TV show, but it's a docu-series. It's really about highlighting these people's genius rather than let's kind of create some jealousy or some drama. It's really about inspiring. So you're going to have little kids all the way through 100-year-old people. The family unit can come together and watch this and be inspired to go, hey, Johnny, have you ever thought about what would you do if you were tasked with the idea of how to stop a hurricane? What would you do? That type of thing. So that's what this show's about.
That's super cool. I'm excited for it to come out. I think that is such an amazing show to come out and to be on to get us all thinking and working together as a community and that social movement. So I love that.
Yeah, it'll be put out like all the episodes so you can
binge it.
Binge it. Yeah. I was like, binge it, binge watch it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, do you have anything that is just burning on your heart that you want to share with our audience before we go?
Sure. Well, I would love to. I have a 4-part video series that I would love for your ladies to watch if you're open to that.
Absolutely.
On developing confidence.
Yes.
Then it takes them through the thing. So all you have to do is go to bit.ly/iconic confidence and sign up there. And there are workbooks in there and 4 videos that walk you through all that. And it's easily implementable. These are things that I've done in my life to help me develop where I am now and what I help my clients through. And so it will help you too.
Yes, thank you. I will definitely make sure to link that up in the show notes for all of you. I just want to say thank you so much for being here. You provided so much value to our audience and just, tools and things to think about and become aware about. And, especially if you are in that spot today that I know that I'm called for more and I am made for more. So how do I get there? What can I do? And where can we find you, Elizabeth?
I have my website, I have my product website, but what I'm really, what is the word? Um, Sending people more to right now is actually my Instagram. Because that's a place where I am focusing more and more on in terms of my stories. Because people are getting tidbits of information, but you're also getting to know me. You can connect with me directly, and you're getting to know my family and my interests and what I teach. And so I would recommend going there because then it's more interactive, more engaging. And my Instagram is I am Elizabeth de Moraes. So it's Instagram.com/I am Elizabeth de Moraes.
Awesome. We'll make sure to link that up in the notes too. Is there anything else that you wanted to share with our audience today?
Yes, it's called the Video Glam Cam Kit. This is a product that I created a couple of years ago, and we just came out with the second edition of it. And what this does is take all the guesswork out of creating your social media videos, whether it's for, if you have a business and you're doing Facebook Lives, or you just want to take great pictures of your kids or videos of your kids. It creates great lighting, great sound. What about, when you want to, say if you want to interview your 4-year-old of what are your favorite things right now? And you do that every year, whatever it is. You can interview and record in a really high quality, but not with a high price tag. And it all comes all together in one. So again, you go to the videoglamcamkit.com and you'll see it all. It's a nice ring light that folds, so it's very easily transportable. You have a 6-foot big tripod that also folds or moves at a 90 degrees. So you can then film yourself doing cooking tutorials, or maybe your kids doing different crafts. Say if they want to do a YouTube channel, a lot of kids want to do that, and so that really helps with that. And it all comes in a really great bag, so you can take it on, into the car and on your journey. So definitely check that out.
What a cool, awesome idea for a Christmas gift, especially for your kids, or
Yes.
to do that for yourself and then the kids. I didn't even think about the whole YouTube thing. That's awesome.
Yeah, kids. I don't know any kids who don't want to have their own YouTube channel, and so this is a great starter pack for that, for you parents who are like, I have no idea how to get them started. Bam, this is it. It's all in one thing.
Definitely. So video.
And with your phone, of course, So.
Oh yeah, videoglamkit.com.
The videoglamcamkit.com.
Okay. We will link that up as well. Thank you again so much for being here and sharing this time with me. I just love you, and I cannot wait to continue to watch you just soar.
And you too, girl.
And thank you. Yes, I appreciate your support and love.
Oh, I love you, girl. Thank you so much.